being different. Do you think that it's possible for him to observe a 25,000 year cycle? Maybe it was 100 years where he was at. So when he's saying this and he's writing this, we think he lived 100,000 years, but where he was at when he observed this, him being conscious of his multidimensional nature, it was only 100 years where he was at. So what do you think about a lot of the history we get and a lot of the books we get passed down? The time is completely different from what we perceive. We're perceiving these historical books from a 2024 perspective, when in reality, we're not looking at it from a multidimensional nature. And Thor looked at this shit rise and fall in 100 years, but it was really 25,000 years Earth time. What's your thoughts on that idea in terms of us studying history from the wrong timeline, or using the wrong time reference point?
So a lot of the wrong information that we operate from was given to us deliberately.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you can control the way a person perceives reality, you can use that control in order to use their manifestation ability to work on the behalf of the reality you want them to create.
Right.
Right. Now you gotta remember, if right now we wasn't in physical form, time wouldn't exist.
Right.
How long have we been calculating time on Earth?
I don't know. Shit.
On a system that was created by Pope Gregory, and every 360 days away from our birthday, we've been saying we're getting 1 year older every 365 days away from our birthday, and that in itself puts ourselves in a daze. D-A-Z-E. That's where they come up with the term days, D-A-Y-S. You see what I'm saying? It's all an illusion. And then you got the month, M-O-N, dealing with the mana, which means moon, the moon matrix, which is an illusion. You see what I'm saying? It's all, and then you have the days make a week. You see what I'm saying? That's harvesting energy from the body, making you weak, thinking that you're getting older, believing in the illusion of time. The illusion of Maya.
That's right.
Look, if you go back, history starts with the first dynasty in Egypt. That's recorded history, and the Sumerians is contemporary with the first dynasty. But nobody's talking about the other kings list that before the first dynasty, where one king lived 100,000 Earth years. Right? Because history starts with the first dynastic period in Egypt. That's because the common practice of history comes out of the temple priest of Tahuti to record the records and knowing that the amnesia was coming. The amnesia is a side effect of the collapsing of the fourth dimension into the third, because you're seeing two minds together at the same time. You that knocked you silly. You was delirious. But before the first dynasty, right, they not telling you the Sphinx was there almost 8,000 years before the pyramids. But if you use their dating systems, popularized by Sheikh Anta Diop, and what they call carbon dating, they came up with uranium dating, plutonium, all kind of dating systems. Because of the consistent decay of any element can tell you how long that element has been decaying, and gives you a rough age of when it was put in its current form.
And he also used the technology of horizontal gene transfer, transmuting his consciousness into different bodies, to carry out that intelligence.
They call that soul jumping.
Okay.
What's another name for that, Rob? What you said?
It's called soul jumping. Soul jump from one avatar to the next. And they
or essence transfer.
Well, what you said?
Another word for it is essence transfer.
Essence transfer. Wow, I haven't heard that one. Wow, essence transfer.
That's what they called it in the sarcophagi. That's what the sarcophagi is.
Yo, y'all swear, yo, the three of them, y'all see how we had three different answers all tied in together? Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. What the fuck? Yo, come on, y'all. Yo, this is what I'm talking about. We're connecting the dots here tonight, y'all.
Facts.
We're connecting the dots. Three different angles of light. I'm asking the questions. Come on, like this is fire, y'all. We got
the purpose of communicating with other people is to get to see the problem from somebody else's perspective.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You know, I think B-Dale just mentioned horizontal gene transfer. That made me think about Judy K. King, the book, The Isis Thesis and Balls of Fire. You know, one of the things that was interesting. Now, like I said, this ain't the ordinary conversation, y'all. There's gonna be like you don't know what wild shit gonna be said. You don't know what wild questions gonna be asked, y'all. So I heard people say, "Look, I love this shit. I just don't know what they talk about." They like, "I love this shit though, but I don't know what the fuck they talking about." Like this is a wild one, y'all. So just your subconscious knows what we talking about. Let me say this. Let me ask this question. Okay, so I mentioned Judy K. King. B-Dale mentioned horizontal gene transfer. Judy K. King in her book talks about the microbiome in our body and the biological, everything that's happening on a cellular biological level that's going on in our body is also going on in the external world. The external world is almost a reflection of our microbiome. They also called our aura a reflection of our microbiome, a microbiome aura, almost they said. So they said, let's take, for example, because we're talking about sacred geometry, right? Big topic in the community. Let's use baseball. Judy K. King said there's a baseball game going on inside of us with ourselves, where the good guys and the bad guys competing to make it to the what they call that, home plate. What they call that? Where you go?
It's a home plate.
Yeah, so there's a baseball game going on inside of us. So this is why in our minds and why we resonate with baseball so much and popular culture, because inside we know that shit is happening right now, where people are trying to steal bases, they're trying to slide, they're trying to hit home runs, they're throwing fastballs, they're doing all types of shit. So she's saying this is why it resonates with us on a certain level. What I want to ask you is that if we're thinking futuristically and we're a new species, how beneficial would you think? And we have all these techniques to, like we talked about the platonic solids. What do y'all think about how beneficial would it be if a baseball game is being played in our microbiome? How beneficial would it be to have a visualization board with a baseball field where the goals in his eyes we want is on the home plate or here or there? Like, should we start using visualization techniques using these popular sports that we think are just barbaric, but they're really cellular biology happening? So let's talk about using, like I said, sports for visualization techniques. How beneficial do you think that would be according to the science and teachings of Judy K. King?
You gotta remember, as above, so below. As within, so without. Right? And C. Freeman Hill did a whole lecture on what he's talking about. Everything in the external world is a reflection of your internal world. All of us is agreeing to converge, collapse the wave into this particular destination, so we all showed up. Collapsing the wave on the four-corner shuffle. Right? So now that we got the energy here, we exchanging what brings the energy to the location. We going through a dialogue and we looking at the energy that we experiencing from 4 different positions.
Right.
That means look at this from my angle and tell me what you see. I see the same thing, but the way that I describe it is a little different.
Right. Okay, I got you.
Right. So now we all triangulating in. Now, regular GPS is what you call a 3-point convergence.
Okay.
You need at least 3 positions in order for you to get an exact address using GPS. Now we got 4 positions tuned in on the exact address of the GPS, Brother Rich.
Yes.
Right. So we focus in the energy. The visualizations is the training tools on how to focus the energy. You use the external object as the training mechanism to focus the mind and can gain control of how the mind uses the faculty.
Right.
You have to develop it and you can perform it. But you can't perform it until it's developed. And that's all of the mind's energy. That's your creative potentialities. It's only going to work according to the self-discipline of the person that's wielding the desired manifestation.
Got you. Facts. And let me just add before RFG or BDL adds on, I asked that question, keeping in mind that I remember if y'all watch the channel on a regular, I talked to Aaron Lyons one time. I used basketball on the regular in my imagination for as far as me asking questions. I imagine myself passing an assist to somebody who's going to score. So I use sports on a regular basis in my imagination to produce my reality. I always imagine myself being an assist man so that BDL, Rod Hazel, whoever could score the basket. So this is why I always say I'm the point guard. I'm the point guard. I'm the point guard of the gods. So just wanted to say that. But go ahead, BDL and RFG. Go ahead.
Yeah, so in order to beat the simulation, you got to treat it like a game.
Yeah,
so that's going to raise up your spiritual economics, and that's going to raise up the frequency of the law of reciprocity. The energy that you put out has to come right back. So it's not a coincidence that you basically like this channel, the Madison Square Garden of Consciousness. He's like the head honcho when it comes to that. So he's giving out, assists to where you got different teachers to give out certain edification. So it's not a coincidence that all this stuff is happening. So that's how I look at certain things. I look at as a way of, in order to reverse the polarity of the simulation is to treat it like a game.
Powerful.
Life is a game.
Treat it like a game. Indeed. RFG?
The game of basketball was basically created off of the movement of the stars and the solar systems in the galaxy. So like you have the spherical ball symbol. It can symbolize the sun, the moon, or the earth. And then the goal is to move it through the center of the Milky Way, which is personified by the hoop. And it symbolizes being, a thought moving from one realm to the next. You see what I'm saying? Creation, the process of creation and the multiverse. That's what the game of basketball symbolizes. So, when you said that, the correlation between the sport and trying to manifest your goals, like the game of basketball automatically popped up in my head. And the ancient Mayan, their game of basketball was, the Spaniards called it Pitz. So that's Pitz. And that's what it was based off of, like creation throughout the multiverse.
Right. Wow. So, all right, we talked about, a little earlier, we talked about time, right? When we talked about, Rob, what you said?
When you go to use your analogies for basketball to explain what you're performing, right? The analogy goes into when is the first time you ever understood the concept of success that you was trying to reach? You understood it first, either observing basketball or playing basketball. You
observing it and watching somebody win a championship. That like really struck a chord with me.
So you also begin to understand how valuable the position of point guard is on the basketball court.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And a good point guard can overcome most obstacles on the basketball court when it comes to getting the right people the ball at the right time. Right. So you using the analogy because that's where you understood that if you play your position, that your victory is assured.
There you go, Rod. There you go, Rod. Yeah, they said this deep as fuck. Yeah, I know. So yeah, there you go, Rod.
So you use basketball as a quasi motivator. And you're understanding the basketball as a rollout plan. This is how I'm going to make this work.
Right.
I'm the point guard. I got to know how to get the ball from the chosen one to be there to ride so we can win this game.
Right.
So you put together the concept of the show. So this is you drawing up the play now. Not only are you playing point guard, but you playing coach on the floor, Isaiah Thomas.
Right. Okay.
Closest to ever do it. Right. But they don't want to acknowledge that because he's too outspoken about. Some of us was already here. What is you talking about?
Yeah.
That's belligerent to the social construct and the narrative that the system want to hold. But you using the basketball analogy to develop a winning formula in order for you to properly execute your plan and maintain your motivation through all 4 quarters of the development. Big Mama House, 4 Corner Shuffle.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to the Vice Lords on the west side of Chicago.
Hey, facts, super facts. Oh man, this is beautiful. I want to ask another question on time real quick, y'all. Moving forward, being a new species, we've touched on it. I think something important that RFG said was, we're counting our age and, we're saying we're a new age every year, and maybe that's making us age more than what we really are. We could touch on that. The question I want to ask, y'all could touch on that, but the question I want to ask before, if y'all decide to touch on that, is that let's say, because we talked about Thoth possibly living in a different dimension, or anybody living in a different dimension where time is different. So let's say moving forward, we know that in terms of our life, if we live to be 60, they say if we sleep 6 hours a day, we done slept 25 years of our life almost. That's a lot of time that we done slept in the sleep realm, that a person who wants to get shit done and build buildings and businesses or civilizations, they ain't trying to sleep that much. They trying to get shit popping. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to ask you is that, is it possible to, let's say when we go to the dream realm, for us to get 12 hours of sleep, 12 hours of mental rest within 30 minutes, depending on what realm we go to. Let's say we go to a realm where 30 minutes is the equivalent of 12 hours. So can we project our mind and say, listen, I need 15 hours of sleep tonight to be fully charged in the morning, but I'm only going to be technically be asleep for 30 minutes in this realm. Is it possible for us to go to sleep for 30 minutes in this realm and charge our body as if it was asleep for 13 hours, moving forward as a new species in the future, y'all?
That takes us back to the movie The Matrix.
Talk to me, Rod.
Okay. Neo was being instructed by Morpheus, and he went into the Matrix and had a combat session with Morpheus. When he came out, he did like this, and he had blood in his mouth.
Yeah.
And Neo was asking Morpheus, how is this possible? And he told Neo, the mind makes it so. The mind is what makes the body experience the reality. It's the same with the placebo effect. The placebo effect, the body is healed by the agency of the mind under the pretense of being treated by a medication that's actually sugar. Okay. It has no bearing on the disorder whatsoever. Right? So the mind makes the reality experience real, and by subtly telling yourself every year you're a year older, they tell you aging weakens. The counter to that is to convince yourself that every day I get stronger than I was the day before. The mantra is the reversal method that they use to counter the current condition.
It's like programming. It's like programming your avatar to accept its perceived reality. And they did a test study on this with a glass of water. I'm pretty sure a lot of you already heard about it, but they put the headphones on the glass of water and they played different kinds of music, and if it's like chaotic music and low frequency music, the water molecules will be in disarray and they won't be in synchronicity with each other. But if you play like classical music, like jazz, anything more high vibrational, the water molecules will be moving around in perfect synchronicity. And that's just, you know, like he said, the frequency of the words, the vibrations of the words, it manifests into reality, like literally. They did this with plants as well and made plants grow over 100% taller, you know, by inducing positive frequencies into the plant itself. That's why it's so important to, you know, only surround yourself with people that are on the same life path as you and have, you know, shown actions that they're on the same life path as you, you know?
Facts.
Yeah, that's you know, that's very imperative, because considering the fact that, you know, the atmosphere is transducing into an omnicron based state. So we got to tap into light language to where we're no longer subjugated by connotative linguistics of the English language. So like I told Brother Rich before, when you start to tap into, you know, other realms of, you know, tonal languages, those octave vibrations have the ability to manipulate that.
Yeah, indeed. So in terms of the age, is that something, because I started out by briefly mentioning us counting our age. Should we stop doing that shit? Is that something that's outdated? You know how voting is like, we're like, all right, that shit is like, come on, y'all, that shit is useless at this point. With who's Trump and Kamala.
The singer Prince, the late singer Prince, he tapped into that form of alchemy that literally stopped his body's aging process. And I think that's part of the reason why they did away with him.
What do y'all think? Is that something we should stop doing, y'all? With Ron and Peter, counting, celebrating them, counting, and I'm 45, I'm 46, I'm 57.
Yeah,
I just say Earth years.
Okay.
I think I'm to celebrate my birthday.
Be there like fuck that.
I just look at it as another day, but you know, it's another way to stay balanced. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't give too much to the material plane.
Indeed. So I was watching before the show, I was watching you know, just coming up with questions, watching several videos, getting ideas. I seen there was an interview Rod Hayes did with the brother Young Elder, and I seen somebody comment on the video, and I'm gonna read it. It says every superhero that was ever created in the comics. This is from Sean Terrence, so let me give him a shout out before he be like, "Yo, you ain't give me a shout out." Shout out to Sean Terrence. He said every superhero that was ever created in the comics has a power source. Their powers came from something. Us original beings, power source is the sun, and creating things, that's where our power comes from. Let me ask you, what is our power source? Because some people say it's the sun. Is it a central sun? Is it a Sirius sun? Is it the black sun? There's like 1,000 suns right now. Where is our power source emanating from when we got to plug in, where we could get all that mother effing power and be the best version of ourselves that we could be?
Oh, you can go.
Well, I say that is being drawn from the etheric network of the dark matter energy of the black sun. Okay. Because I did on my latest transmission, I was basically breaking down how the black sun is basically the emulation of Superman. So now when you look at the color spectrum of the three suns of Utu, Apsu, and Shamus, those three suns that's connected to the Sirius star constellation is basically an emulation of the color spectrum of Superman's garments, because he draws in the plasma energy. So black absorbs all frequencies of colors. Red sun, blue star, or what you call it, red star Kachina, blue star Kachina. All these energies have the ability to create a tetrahedron, which basically gives it the ability to create time dilation or interface transition, within everything in third density. So that means that the more we tap into our power, the more we absorb these energies, the more that we're able to manipulate as far as this fixed position reality that we're living in. So that's why the great majority of all the superheroes, they have the heart chakra was basically in conjunction with the Superman logo. When you're talking about the serpentine energy with the pyramid in it or whatever, it's really just basically talking about the extraction of dark matter energy.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was thinking along the lines, if we're cells of the earth, our power source, our main power source would definitely be the inner sun. Now, whether that is a black hole sun or a red sun or a yellow sun, at this point I'm unaware of, but I know for a fact that it is a mass producer of dark energy, etheric energy, and radiation. And that energy that's coming from the inner sun inside of the earth is literally supposed to be charging our bodies up every day. And at one point on this earth, before the current moon was in our orbit, we didn't have to eat. All we did was just charge our bodies up like batteries and just, keep going.
That's a fact. I remember Rod told me, I think you told me you said Lilith is a black sun. That's Big Mama, right?
Yeah, Lilith it's the moon of Saturn now.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Before the Anunnaki wars that blew a chunk of the earth off, then it was the dominant body in the night sky. And you couldn't you seen the silhouette and it kind of looked purple when you look at it, but all of the plants had like fluorescent colors, just like when you go to the club under the black light. It was something like that in nature under the Lilith moon. They tell it to us in the Hebrew mythology of Lilith rebelling against Adam. Right.
Okay.
But remember, Adama means earth. So the Lilith rebelling against the earth was them reiterating the war that separated Lilith from the earth. And now they have to give us Luna to replace her. Commonly called Eve, Hawa, the tribal mother. Right? So they come in with a different frequency. Under the dark moon Lilith, the women could control their menses. Under Luna, she's going to give them one whether they want it or not every 28 days. So now she no longer has the control over the cycles of birth. They're controlled by an outside source, and this is what makes the pregnant woman a lunatic. It's the count of the clock of the moon over the menses that's ticking. Her response is biochemical, what they call raging hormones. Right. So the description of the lunatic is somebody who can't control themselves due to some kind of rage going on internally. Right. So this is where all of these mythologies come from that's been weaved into modern times as if it doesn't have an ancient reference point. The powerhouse of the biology of this meat suit is the mitochondria. The mitochondrial output is at its highest when a man finds a woman that loves him unconditionally. She overcharges, she turns him all the way up and allow him to have higher access to parts of himself he was unaware of prior. And that's why when you fall in love, you act like a lunatic. You do not behave according to your common behavioral patterns from before. You alter now. Because the chemistry that comes with turning the mitochondria up allows you to see clearly things you didn't see before. Remember, DNA is crystals. The crystals is absorbing the different lights according to frequency from the different stars you see in the sky. And this is why everything within us is a reflection of what's going on outside of us. If your mitochondria turn off, you will not have no energy.
Thanks.
And that means you're going to eventually wither away.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so when you look at the source of mitochondrial energy, it's all coming from a projection that you was tied to called the silver cord in utero.
Mm-hmm.
And the golden cord is when you can activate all 4 chambers of the brain, and now you will connect back to the Father, the Sun. The Sun is going to send in UV rays that's going to carry codes that's going to alter the DNA according to what the crystals told it. It's going to be filtered from the earth and fed back by the collective of Schumann resonance. And then the sun going to answer the earth with another solar flare. Right? But when these Schumann resonance alter weather patterns because of energy frequencies going through atmosphere.
Right.
Right? So then you see it play out in the 3D world as storms.
Makes sense.
So now you still getting the same data through the silver cord as long as you connected to the mitochondrial power source. You always connected to your mama.
No facts, Rod. Rod, you mentioned love. I want to talk to y'all real quick. I did a show with a gentleman named Robert Edward Grant, and I showed him a study. There's a study going on the internet right now, and it talks about how, you know, there's machines that can measure human emotions leaving the body, and the power of, you know, the amplitude or the power of the emotion leaving the body. And surprisingly, there's so much talk in the spiritual community about the power of love, and the universe is made of love. Surprisingly, through this study, the emotion that was more powerful than love was authenticity. So what I want to ask you is, what would be your advice on, and Rod mentioned earlier, we each have a different frequency. I forgot what I asked, but Rod started talking about we each have a different frequency. That meaning we all each are different. We each have something authentic, unique about us. What would be your advice, all of y'all, for the people of enhancing their individual frequency of authenticity so that they could tap into this most powerful emotion according to the study in the world?
Well, one thing you got to understand is that the heart in itself is a fraction.
In a way, authenticity can be considered love. Because if we love ourselves, we're going to be 100% authentic with ourselves. If we love somebody else, we're going to be 100% authentic with them.
Rod, you want to close it out?
So you got something called the true self, and you got something called the false self, commonly called the ego. The love energy is required to get to the true self. And the stuff that makes your heart happy is the stuff that focuses that frequency that you are calling authenticity. And it comes from opening the heart with the energy frequency of the love. Because now you get to see yourself for the first time for who you truly are.
Right.
It's the culmination of the shadow work, the getting rid of all of the negative traits. Right? And as you do that, that's called the purification of the ego. Once the ego has been purified, the authentic self can then operate the avatar authentically.
Right.
That means that you now, everything you do is coming from what they call the true place.
Right.
Felt conversation, straight from the heart.
Right.
A whole different brain than the one in your head. Right? You got 3 major brains: the brain, the heart, and the intestine.
That's right.
Rod, I like to use real life examples because that shit, it hit hard for us. So we're learning and I'm asking these questions and you're giving these brilliant answers. But if I can ask a certain question and that should have hit. So let me ask a question. All right, Rod, we know Rod Hayes is unique. Everybody is unique. B-Dale's unique. RFG is unique. Rod Hayes is unique. Every single interview, Rod Hayes is lighting a spliff. He's the chief. Rod Hayes is the chief. He's chiefing every show. Rod Hayes is chiefing the whole show. Now let me give you a real scenario, Rod Hayes. Let's say that's the authentic Rod. He had the light right now. Rod Hayes had the light one right now. So let me give you a real life example of this. How does shit go down in this realm outside of this? Let's say Rod Hayes is a part of an organization. You reference, let's say, somebody you admire, you look up to, Malachi Z. York. Now, Malachi Z. York say, Rod Hayes, I don't want you chiefing while you speaking. Now, the chiefing takes away from who you are. Rod Hayes, do you follow the man who you look up to in the organization you are part of and stop chiefing? Or do you decide to go on your own, chief, to be your authentic self? This is the shit we are faced with outside of studying and reading shit in a book. Real life example, Rod Hayes, what are you going to do, my brother?
Well, I'm going to be still chiefing. And the reason why is...
Even if you kicked out the organization.
Look, the reason why is the organization not going to kick me out because I'll leave first. Okay. Because I don't be disrespectful to the organization I'm part of.
Okay.
Right? As being in growth and development, we ain't told we can't smoke. That's not part of our doctrine.
Okay. Okay.
Right. But it gives the allowance for the tobacco chief to express himself openly.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You got a lot of people in the conscious community. Oh, these girls wearing weed. You invented it. You invented it. The first people to wear wigs was us. We invented it. So naturally, if they're being naturally following what's in their DNA code, they will be attracted to it in order to do what the elders created it for.
Right.
To alter the appearance, because you don't want to always look the same all the time.
Right.
Right. In olden times, that was called shape-shifting.
Deep, bro.
Right. They call it in modern times master of disguise. But nevertheless, the royal families did it. They done it to entertain and to put some pomp and glory to their positions of authority. Right. So you got different expressions of the self from the true self that you just don't alter because it takes away from the genuine character of the person. Right. This wouldn't the 5%er, Class 13X, when he left, one of his contentions with the nation is that y'all rules is too strict. Right. What about the tobacco chiefs? They not finna follow the no smoking rule.
Right. You're right.
Because it's in their nature as a tobacco chief, in order to use the nicotine to facilitate higher thought, to smoke. In order to use THC, in order to consciously connect with other realms of information, it's in the DNA. They got to blow the herbs.
Okay.
Right? The Rastas say the man that blow the herb is thinking with the mind of God.
Right.
So you can draw from either side of the family tree, whatever help you be your true self the best, and you can acknowledge that. And everybody don't supposed to agree all the time on everything.
Indeed.
As soon as that happens, then we ain't going nowhere. We on a treadmill running to one spot.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
Oh yeah. Now I had to ask, like I said, I gotta ask real life examples with this scientific information so that the people, it could really hit hard with the people. Let me ask you this. So, all right. One of the things we talking about sacred geometry, and a lot of, a popular topic is UFOs, or there's a UAPs that I think is a new term, and all this stuff. They say there's ships floating across states right now. one thing that's mentioned when you mention UFOs is crop circles. Now I always hear about black people invented this. Black people was the first to do. I always hear about the black man, the black man, the black man, the black man. What's the history, y'all? Somebody got it. Is there a history between crop circles and black people? Like what the fuck? Like this? Like I've never heard of ancient history between this black man discovered this crop circle or this black man did. Like what's up with crop circles and black people? I never hear them in the same sentence together. Please talk to me about, because that's some amazing sacred geometry. I don't know if it's real or fake, but please talk to me about crop circles and black people. What's the deal, y'all?
Crop circles are basically cosmic hieroglyphics. Okay. That's all it is. It's another way to basically imprint sigils and messages basically connected to Earth. It's really like warning signals. That's all it is. That's my perspective when it comes to crop circles.
Okay.
Cornrows or braids in African American or African people's hair is a form of a crop circle. Back in the slavery,
I never heard that one. Yeah. Oh shit!
Back in the slavery days, we used to give each other escape routes with certain designs and certain symbols and sigils that we would put in the cornrows in our friend's hair. Damn. So like, oh yeah, it's deep, man. It's deep. And the crop circles that come from the UFOs obviously is their message that they want to relate to humanity. But we picked up on that over time. And one of the, we had the crop circles that we carved into our skin, which are tattoos. And then we put the same designs in our hair.
Mm. Right, close that out, man. Crop circles and black people. Is there a connection? I never hear them in the same sentence, Rod. This is brilliant. RFG, thank you. B-Dell, thank you. Go ahead, Rod.
Everywhere we have some stuff called petroglyphs. Mm-hmm. These are writings on flower pots, writings on walls and caves, on sides of mountains. Everywhere we ever been, you have these symbols written by ancients. You can go in Arizona right now, and there's walls and walls of writings, and many of them are the same symbols that's in crop circles.
Okay.
So it's a higher consciousness trying to communicate with people on Earth that has developed itself to a consciousness high enough to read the physics so that they can translate the symbols for the people to know what we being told. Right? So it is a connection, but remember, the crop circle is fairly new phenomenon to most of the world. So we were not going to ever relate it to the fact that it matched ancient symbols and ancient pottery of us around the world. The original earthborn. We have the Dogon. Many of the symbols of the crop circles can be found in some of their stuff. They all telling messages, but we don't remember symbolism. And we think that the written word is the way that we was communicating before we start writing. Make it make sense.
Interesting.
So I've heard Rod say that I guess the DNA. I told y'all about this video I seen you on, and it was a YouTube short. But you dropped so much shit within that short, Rod. Shout out to Young Elder. I think Rod said that the DNA upgrades is coming via sound. Did you say it's coming through sound?
Through energy, through the UV waves. The human resonance is what is going to be carried on.
Okay.
The women going to experience it first. Because the mitochondria during the early days of gestation is also examining the DNA for all defects. Right? So while the DNA, the mitochondria is mainly scanning the Y chromosome. because it's the newest chromosome in the human genome.
Yep.
So it still had to go through a refinement and development phase. Just go back to what you was talking about, Bobby Hemmett saying we're gonna be a different species.
Yeah.
Because all of the information that the collective of all women collected on their mitochondrial network is fed back to the earth, which feeds it to the sun, which corrects the DNA through the crystals.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The sun tell the earth to tune in to this frequency, this modulation, this amplitude, and then send the blast out.
Mm-hmm.
And then the human resonance blast is the earth's response to what the sun said do. The women then genetically begin to alter the genome. In other words, rewrite the human genome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right? This is why they are the creator gods, the master mason, because it's through the genetic being developed that you can find perfection in the organism in order for the higher self to have a more operational mechanical mechanism in the 3D to express itself.
Mm-hmm.
So this side effect, what it looked like is in the 1960s basketball, they can't do what they do now. Genetics are being upgraded based off the collective consciousness and the genetic need to correct the error, because too many basketball players from back then, if they do the stuff these players do, would be injured. So the body has to adjust, and somebody got to tell it to. So when all this stuff happens, the DNA changes, it changes the species of the human. A whole new genetic stock.
How important is, in terms of the DNA upgrade and who we are and us becoming a new species, how important is, I want to talk to you about singers. And the reason I want to talk to you about singers is because everything is sound. The universe was created with sound. I just asked about sound. We know about cymatics. And something interesting, my son actually, he obviously every kid for whatever reason resonates with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is so timeless. Every kid resonates with Michael Jackson music when they hear it or see his videos or whatever. But my son actually he heard a song, a R. Kelly song on the radio. My son was like, "Yo, what's that? I want to hear more of that." I'm like, "Damn, should I play more R. Kelly shit for him and tell him like yo?" Because R. Kelly was one of the baddest motherfuckers we had in the last 30 years.
Right.
But he got caught up in the human shit. I want to talk about singers and how important they are to what we call galactic ascension. There's so many names for it, whatever we want to call it. The upgrade, DNA upgrade, because we see what's going on with Diddy. Now, Diddy's not technically a singer, but he had a huge influence over the music industry. How important are singers to what we're talking about, this whole show, what we're talking about right now with us becoming a new species? And the reason why I ask that is because we're a musical people. We're the rhythm nation of the planet. Children learn through song. So talk to me about the importance of singers moving into this new paradigm shift that we're undergoing.
Well, especially like R&B music, it helps you tap into the love frequency. So that's why you don't see much of a propagation of R&B nowadays. Everything is pretty much, hip hop. But, in order to tap into that love frequency, that is connected to your authenticity. Like I tell people all the time, like a lot of times when I work out, I don't just work out to hip hop music. I work out to R&B music. Sometimes, like I say, you gotta tap into that love energy, and in order to reach the apex of your higher self, sometimes you just gotta, try different things or whatever. But as far as like the octave vibration of R&B music or whatever, it has an ethereal energy. You ever heard of the children of Zimbabwe? When they said that they had a visit from extraterrestrial species or whatever,
yeah,
they said that when they heard the spaceships or whatever, it had like a ethereal, it had like a flute noise to it. So a lot of times, singers, they have that same vibration because our octave vibrations, it travels on Ethereum oscillating signals, basically.
Mm.
So that's just my
Deep.
take on that.
Deep, Fidel. Okay.
Yep. Music is like the foundation, one of the base foundations of culture. And before gangster rap was put to the forefront in like the late 80s, early 90s, our people were break dancers, were pure innovators. You know what I'm saying? Like major artists, like the biggest innovators in the world. And hip hop was needed for so many different genres, for so many different avenues of life. But I feel like what hip hop has become in the past 15 plus years, I feel that our music is actually devolving more than it's actually evolving.
Yeah. No, definitely. I just heard Lil Durk got locked up, man. I was like, damn, man, it hurt me in the head. Like I was rooting for that young brother. I just heard, Lil Durk got locked up, and I think conspiracy. What he got locked up for, y'all? Conspiracy or murder or something like that?
Something along those lines. I didn't look into it. Somebody just sent me the message on Instagram.
Yeah, man. But it's a shame that so many of our artists get caught up in the system, or they get caught up in the bullshit within the industry. So it is what it is.
Remember the Pied Piper?
Yes.
Music is it's a heart language.
It's a what? Say that again, Rod. It's a what?
It's a heart language.
Heart language. Music, yes.
Yeah.
Like
and
I said.
if you go back to, they call us the salt of the earth in the Bible. What do salt do when you cook with it? It balances out all of the flavors in the food.
Yeah.
Music is the baseline or the theme music to life. When the theme music gets stale, they come out with a new soundtrack. Right? You could start with Scott Joplin and work your way through the different genres of jazz alone, and you can see how many branches it sprang off into. Right? The same with the blues. It turned into R&B, rhythm and blues, turned into pop music, soul music, right? And this is always coming from us because we the salt of the earth. Meaning that we have to be tired of the trend in order for it to effectively be changed.
Right.
Rock and roll played out, we created disco. Right? When disco played out, then here come hip hop. Right? Now, hip hop come in simultaneously with techno. And some of the early hip hop artists was sampling techno music for certain sounds they needed.
Right.
I think Africa Bambaataa was one of the most ones. Right. The instrument of music is always to talk to the heart. Right. And anywhere we create a music, that music is going to be coded with messages because of the pattern of the musical layout in the sheet music.
Okay.
If words to the sheet music, they're going to be tapping into specific points of frequency in the subconscious mind. Then later on, as the time develops, you'll be able to extract messages out of the music that's telling you a story. Right? But this is all part of the development of a new culture in the middle of an existing culture.
Yep. I'm just waiting to see what's going to be the new genre after hip hop.
I think it's going to go back into the instrumental realm. You ever seen the movie Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind? In order to tap into the ability to connect and communicate with extraterrestrials, or whatever you want to call them, you had to use the octave vibration of instruments. that's the only way you would be able to connect with those beings on the communication level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was all radio wave frequencies, instrumentals. They even showed that in the movie The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was able to manipulate the language and connect with higher interdimensional entities based upon music frequencies.
Yep. It all started out with different instruments, you know, but you rarely see, you know, the artists now using them. But I think it should get back to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a cool side note, you know, NASA, when they trying to communicate with beings from different places, they send Beethoven and Bach.
I heard about that. That's true, Rod. That's true.
Yeah. It's in all, it's on all their paperwork.
Wow. So you notice the word mentals in there, instrumental for a reason. It's a mental language. Tap into your higher abilities. Because I think if you listen to classical music, I do it to my son. I let classical music play lightly in the background while he sleep because it helps weigh out both hemispheres of the brain.
Right.
Well, they did many studies on that too, Brother Rick. Using that classical music and fetal development and plant and all kind of stuff. They use those different musics and it stimulates the synaptic network. Right? So if the synaptic network is just building and it's being stimulated, it's going to build itself thicker, faster, and stronger. Yeah. A lot of baby geniuses now are being born from listening to classical music during gestation.
I'm glad y'all mentioned that. I'm gonna keep that in mind. Y'all know my lady's pregnant, so I'm gonna keep that in mind. Beat Thanks for bringing that up, the classical music, because that's some. You read and study so much. I forgot about that part, the classical music part. So I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind. We gonna get to listen. We about to hit the 2-hour mark. I'm gonna take 3 questions from the chat before we get out here, y'all. I don't want to keep the brothers too long tonight. It's already 11. I appreciate it. It's 11:01. It's the 111. It's the 111. You know, it just happened like that. It's the 111. But I'm gonna get to 3 questions and then we're gonna get out of here. Absolutely magnificent show. We got about 4,300 people in the chat. Wow, 4,300 people in the chat. Shout out to all of y'all. Let's get to 3 questions. Let me see if I got any questions in the super chat before I. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna get to a super chat question. Shout out to the super chat. Appreciate the support. You know what? Because somebody, family, brothers. Before I get to the super chat, tell the family because somebody asked about supporting y'all. Y'all Cash App if they want to show y'all some love on the Cash App or whatever. Before we get to the 3 questions, y'all, we can start out with RFG, then B-Dale, then Rod Hayes. If you got a Cash App or whatever, and the family want to show y'all love, let them know how they could do that, y'all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have PayPal, and I just recently created a Cash App like about 2 weeks ago. So if you want to Cash App me, you can send whatever to $capital RFG capital CHOSEN the number 1. That is capital RFG capital CHOSEN 1 the number 1, and as well as PayPal amoapoxia@gmail.com. So that's AMOAPOKSIA@gmail.com for PayPal donations.
All right, be down.
It's $Brydell Rice, BRYDELLRICE.
Okay. And Rod.
Mine is capital SIK capital APE.
All right, I think King Simon's in the chat. If King Simon's in the chat, he'll write it down. Shout out to King Simon if you're in the chat. If you could put that in the chat while we get to a couple of these questions. Let's get to this first super chat. All right, Armani says, Rich and Panel of Kings, do you think they watch you and schedule these bullshit election events like tonight on purpose to try to throw off the energy because they know what's up. Please ask.
The entire electoral process is nothing but an illusion. You only had two presidents out of 46 that tried to like make some form of a significant change, and they were assassinated. So 44 out of 46 presidents, basically did everything that their puppet masters ordered them to do. And there's been no president to change the economic status or the fact that we're looked at as fourth and fifth class citizens in this country. There's been no presidential candidate to change that dynamic, and I don't believe that there ever will be.
That's something the president can't change anyway. He can't do nothing to make people treat people any kind of way. He don't have that jurisdictional authority.
Right.
But the whole political stage show is a distraction. The only reason it's there is so that you don't know that we being dictated to. Right? They attribute the writing of the bills to this senator or that congressman. They ain't wrote jack. They didn't write nothing. Somebody gave it to them and said, "This is your agenda." That's part of the process of being over there. If you realize that it's a political satire and stop participating in it. But as far as them trying to disrupt the energy, they don't schedule it because Brother Rich scheduled the show. They schedule it based off time, day, and stellar alignment. Because that's how they determine how to interrupt the energy. By time, day, and stellar alignment. And if they can control when the energy is disrupted, they can control the outcome of putting the energy back in order.
Indeed. Fire. Somebody is a little upset in the chat, and they keep writing, name one female. Well, I don't know if they're upset, but they keep writing, name one female in the Galactic Council. So go ahead, y'all. What's going on? Are there any females in the Galactic Council? Because
the Lyrans have a council of female advisors to the Galactic Council, and a representative that sits on the Galactic Council that's female. The Arcturians have two people sitting on the council, one male, one female. I'm not going to go through the whole Galactic Council, but there's plenty of women on the Galactic Council.
Okay. All right.
According to the Dogon, the center of the galaxy is female.
Yeah, Big Mama controlling everything anyway, so.
And we call her Power, and that's why she's on the 13th Zodiac seat, dead center, in the Temple of Dara.
All right, let's get to another question. Hopefully this person isn't as mad. Are the entities that are pulling up to assist humanity new breeds of humans?
I would call them ancient breeds.
Say that again. Say that again.
I said I would call them ancient breeds.
Okay.
Them bloodlines are not what we have become on Earth now.
Okay.
Remember, they were separated, genetically separated for a long period of time. And what happens, you develop from a lion and a tiger from the same source.
Right.
Fundamentally different cats, but they're compatible with each other sexually.
Okay.